Welcome again to Lights, Mics and Studios. My name's Charl, and this time not from my car, as we're not allowed to go anywhere, drive anywhere, but from my lounge, rather. Welcome to my house. This is the place that I call home, the place which is sort of a madhouse most of the times, because I've got two young ones, but that's just the way that God intended for it to be. Now, speaking of the way that God intends stuff to be, I've seen recently on Facebook and on social media and all the different platforms that people are speculating whether COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus, one of the coronaviruses, are coming from God, something that God sent to do various things. And I need to address that in this week's episode of Lights, Mics and Studios, because I don't believe that this thing is from God. I don't believe COVID-19 is from God. And I think there's something wrong with our theology if we do think that it is from God, and our understanding of certain things if we think it is from God or trust Him for it. The reason I say this, that if we read in the book of James, we see that James encouraged the church to remember that all good things come from above. It means that God is the one that gives good gifts. We also see that if we take the book of Job, that God allowed Satan or the tempter to actually bring sickness upon Job. But he wasn't the one that sent it. He allowed it, but he wasn't the one that sent it. Now, that's two different concepts. You need to bear that in mind. You do need to understand that. You need to keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking of these things. However, what needs to be said with regards to the fact that this is not from God is that we can remember that God can use it. There's a lot of fake news, unfortunately, doing the rounds about how clean China's air is, which I must think it's possible, but about swans in Venice and dolphins in Venice, if I'm not mistaken. Swans somewhere in France, and then there's dolphins swimming in the channels of Venice. Unfortunately, those seemingly photos or videos or whatever is untrue. That's not true. The dolphins aren't swimming in Venice. And the swans have never left that little town in France, which people think they did. They never did that. They're still very much active there, and they never went anywhere. Now, can God use COVID-19? Of course God can use COVID-19, and I think He is using it. And I experience it in my personal life a lot. By spending time with my family, I've realized how much I've neglected my family, thinking that I'm doing things for them by providing for them, but actually not providing for them by giving myself to them. That's the first thing. Then I also think that the church has come to the realization that we need to rethink church. We need to rethink the way that we are doing ministry work, especially now when the world is, can we say, segregated? The world is living behind our fences, living behind our locked doors, because we're not allowed to go anywhere, and we shouldn't go anywhere. And that's not just South Africa, that's the entire world. By the time that this video has gone live, Australia's lockdown has already kicked in. New Zealand is heading into their second week of lockdown. Italy, obviously, needs to be mentioned. It's been quite some time now. Brazil is starting their one. A lot of states in the United States have been under lockdown. God is positioning His church to rethink church. What does it mean for us to be church? And of course, He's also using this, as I'm doing in this video, to show some of the fact that it's not Him doing these things. We as Christians has got the opportunity to bring the gospel to a world that's in dire need of it in the midst of all this. And that is what I wanted to share with you. And my scripture verse that I use for this is Romans 8 verse 28, that says that all things, or God uses all things for His good and His purposes. So remember that COVID-19 is not from God, but it can be used by God. For myself, Charl, have a blessed, blessed day further.